Hey, we're live. It's hashtag Malkin Live. This is the third installment of my series this week, focusing on the band. Because everybody wants to talk about free speech now. We had the President Trump tweet, and everyone thinks that they know what it's like to be censored, but you rarely hear from the actual people who have been censored. So we had Nick Fuentes on Monday, Laura Loomer on Tuesday, and today I have a man who needs no introduction. It is Gavin McInnes of Censored.tv. Hey, Gavin.
Hello.
So we were just talking a few seconds ago about how I have no merch of yours. I need some swag and merch.
This is one of my favorite ones with my little servant, Ryan Tetsu Rivera.
Ryan. Okay, I want that, I think. What else? What else is in the shop?
I don't know. Go get our merch.
I know. I said I want a mask. That is what I want. I want the Censored.tv mask.
Yeah, I was thinking about making merch for that. Like, we have a mask with a sheep that says "Bah," and but I think it's funnier to say "Okay, Karen" every time someone yells at you to wear a mask.
Did you see the one? I couldn't tell if it was a joke or not, which means it probably wasn't. It's got the duck bill, and I don't know. It's got some pressurized button, so you can eat. This.
I saw that was invented in Israel, and it didn't look like a joke. And I'm thinking, but you still have to digest it. Like, what? I don't get the logic of any of this. But I think we're really seeing that the DNC loves power. And then you'll hear them use words like moderate and valid. Like there was this professor was talking about, you should be careful on your Zooms not to have wedding pictures in the background because it makes gays feel like they're not valid. And she also says, but you can say, what'd you do with your family this weekend? That's valid. So she's sitting there telling me what is valid. And then there was another article about the Proud Boys saying that the Proud Boys are spreading dangerous propaganda about COVID. And he says, and they're doing it without moderation. Yes. And I thought that word is crucial. Moderation. They're not being moderate. I want to moderate them.
Yeah, that's right. Clown world. It's a clown world, and we're just living in it.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, this just carries over the theme that you and I have encountered and you are combating. It is the gatekeeper culture. And in a pandemic age, of course, this is what happens, right? With Twitter, immediately. Well, we're going to broaden the definition of harm. Right? Yeah. It's another way of moderating content on the internet. I mean, it wasn't enough for them to be able to falsely label people as conspiracy theorists, right? Yeah. And to redefine dissenting opinion as hate and potential incitements to violence. But now any dissenting opinion on all of these public health lockdowns, the debate about science, there should be a debate about all of this, right? But now, people are being just pushed off these platforms left and right because they threaten the powers that be.
Well, they tried debating us. They tried the war of ideas. And that's why if you go to YouTube and you look at feminist fails or SJWs getting destroyed compilations, and it has 100 in a row. So then they said, all right, we can't compete with them. Let's just deny the platform. And then we can say white supremacist, dangerous, violent, and take things out of context. And then he can't defend himself. And that's where we're at now. And they especially choose people like you, me, Milo, Nick, because we're charming and influential. And I honestly think my tattoos are part of this because they go, but he kind of seems like a hipster and that might get younger people. Let's just get him out of here. They don't care about a bald Nazi. They care about a cool one.
What is the tattoo on your left? Is that your left forearm? Yeah, what is it?
It's an American eagle holding my rifle.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I don't think I ever saw that one. What else do you have?
Oh, not much. Just Chiang Kai-shek and Fidel Castro being eaten by a man-o-war.
Holy crap. That is much more impressive than, what is that guy who's married to Jennifer Garner? Ben Affleck. He got some big...
Oh, yeah. Well, I was just talking to my wife. I want to buy a house. And we were wondering if we should do this bid. And then she sent me an article saying, people who make quick decisions tend to have happier lives. And I said, I'm the king of quick decisions. And she goes, yeah, that would explain all those terrible
tattoos. Well, I think we've talked about this, but, I let my daughter have her first one after she had recovered from just this first bout of chronic illness. I really loved it. It was really cute. It said per aspera ad astra. So Latin, I'm good with that. Very small and just very discreet. But you can't just have one, can you? You can't just have one. It's like a Lay's potato chip.
But men, our bodies don't really matter. That's why you have spiders are this big, female spiders, and the males are this big, and she'll often eat the male. Like we're here to work and to make sure that you have babies and you're safe. So a woman's body is sacred, but a man's, like this is my daughter's hamster's gravestone. R.I.P. tiny toes. That's why we don't care. But a woman, it looks like she's desecrating herself when she has like a big octopus on her leg or something. That's why women can't drink booze, because their body's a temple, and when they pollute it, you just go, stop doing that. Babies are made in there. So I think a woman can have this much surface area of tattoos. It could be one big one or a bunch of little tiny ones, but no more than this surface area.
Man, I wish you had told her that. I wish you had told her that beforehand. Anyway, so this is from the censored.tv Twitter. This was in response, I think, to Trump's tweet over the weekend. I'm just going to read it for everyone because I don't know how to pull it up on the screen yet. Gavin McInnes started a patriotic men's club called the Proud Boys. The left saw it as a threat and got us banned on every platform, debanked, doxxed, fired, arrested, and in prison for 4 years. Your news site, censored.tv, you're not even allowed to type it on social media. Can you fill people in on this incredible phenomenon? This must be, are you the only one that this has happened to? Because I can't think of anyone else where you type it in and it's like zapped.
Yeah, that's even in DMs. So if you're having a private conversation and you say, I checked out this thing uncensored, you have to write out dot or the message won't send. But that's the tip of the iceberg. I had to change the name from freespeech.tv because we got sued by some mysterious lawyer. We're being blocked in New Zealand. Subscribers who are signed up can't see the videos because Sky has blocked them. Virgin, that website provider, has blocked the site. Paid subscribers, I'm not just talking about YouTube or something. Paid subscribers can't watch the show. And we've had to build this sort of Fort Knox. I also started a fund for the Proud Boys family. It's called justiceforliberty.com.
Okay.
And that got hacked. It's the picture. His kids are black. It's a cute little black baby. Her name is Liberty. It says Justice for Liberty. They hacked that because it's a Proud Boys kid. They already got the guy in prison for 4 years. It's amazing. So it's big tech, it's Antifa, and it's the DNC. Like Cuomo is just as responsible for those guys being in prison as Antifa are. And they're all the same too.
Yeah. Now, for a lot of, I hate to use the word normies, but I mean, that's what it is. A lot of people who get most of their news from Con Inc. establishment outlets have no idea what happened with this wrongful persecution, prosecution, and conviction. Can you give the Cliff Notes version of what happened to the Proud Boys in New York and a current status update on the ones who were thrown in jail?
Okay, October 12th, 2018, I believe it was. I was celebrating, as a joke, Otoya Yamaguchi, who assassinated a socialist in Japan. And we did a comedy show. We reenacted it. My little friend here was the socialist, and I had Chinese glasses, and I was Otoya with a plastic sword. I even ordered a Japanese school uniform online. Okay, I'm not doing the quick version. So I did a comedy show, which is available on YouTube. Everyone can see it. And then Antifa are there. They're throwing bottles of urine. They beat the crap out of a journalist, steal all his stuff, get away scot-free with that. All those charges were dropped, even though he pursued it. They're screaming. They're attacking people as they come and go. Police have to escort people to Ubers. And this is old ladies. This is blacks, whites, Jews, gays. It was a very diverse audience. The protesters were not diverse. They were 99% white. Anyway, the police keep us there. They get me in a car, send me away, and then they keep the Proud Boys for a little bit longer. The crowd is totally dispersed. Everyone's left, so the Proud Boys are escorted by the police to the subway. Antifa has snuck around the block and is hiding. They then ambush them, and it's at this point they're saying, you want to fight? And Proud Boys go, yes. So it's mutual combat, basically. Tim Pool says we started the fight. If someone stands in front of you after terrorizing you and says, throws a bottle of urine and says, want to go? And you go, yes, and run at them and kick their ass. That's not starting a fight. That's obliging someone who was looking for a fight. Anyway, the cops see this happen. They go, no, this isn't a big deal. 17 seconds. Go home, boys. They even do a press conference the next day and they say, Antifa ambushed them. They went around the block. Then the DNC saw this as a way to show the right as reckless and violent, because it was right before the midterms. Right. So de Blasio, Cuomo, the Attorney General, they all get on Twitter and say, hate has no home here. These guys were roaming the streets, beating up people who disagree with them, implying that we were like finding gays and beating up black old ladies or something. So this is headed to court. There's no case. They focus on these three guys, David Kyriakos, John Kinsman, and Max Hare. But there's a problem. One of them is brown. So what they do is they separate the brown guy's case and say, just take a plea. Just do 1 year. He refuses, so they just drop it. They totally drop it. Now they have the two white guys. They make it all about white power. The audience the jury, was millennial and black, and they were loving this narrative. And John Kinsman's black wife was there. The media didn't go near her. When she was with John, cameras were face down. At one point, he goes, get out of my face with the camera. They freeze that and make it a Sieg Heil. That's in the Daily News. Mm-hmm. And they throw the book, the Mark Dwyer, the judge, who, by the way, let a serial rabbi pedophile who was raping children, he let him get away with 8 months. He says, this fighting reminds me of Germany or Europe in the 30s.
Oh, geez.
And he says, I think he implied that I'm the one who should be in there. Talking about his speech, he never even saw. If he'd seen the speech, he'd see. I wasn't sitting there going, und von Ivan, verstorben, und von Neumann. And these guys, Max, they're both appealing it. It's going slow. They're trying to have the trial in Staten Island or somewhere that would be a little more agreeable. It's not going to happen. By the time they get the verdict on the appeal, they will have served 3.5. I think they'll be out in 3.5, 3.6 years or something. But like,
they're at Rikers, right?
No, this is another thing they do to screw you. They send you way, way up. So they're in Bear Hill and Governor, which are just touching the Canadian border. So the family has to drive like 10 hours to see them. It's just an extra little screw, just to really nail it.
And I can't remember if you mentioned this detail, but not a lot of people understand that Antifa, which were supposed to be the victims, refused to testify at the trial. Yeah.
They said they helped the police with information, but so there was no victim.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever heard of an assault charge where the victim said, nah, forget it? Yeah. It's like if you're having play fighting with someone and the guy goes, no, we're just play fighting. And then the police say, no, you're going to prison anyway. What? And the crimes were bizarre. It was like assault with a deadly weapon, and they were talking about Max's boot. That was a deadly weapon. Or John happened to have like a penknife on him, so they say that was his deadly weapon, even though he never touched it. And the thing that drives me nuts is John has 3 beautiful black kids. They stay at my house when she's going to visit him because it's a break on the way up from Chicago. She drives, by the way, from Chicago. And these 3 beautiful little angelic kids, these black kids, are denied a father for 4 years because he's racist.
Yeah.
That's their logic.
So here's the thing about the left and the DNC. They seize an opportunity, right? Yes. And in the middle of right before the election, they took advantage of these scrums and turned them into this golden moment to smear Trump supporters as violent menaces to society. And they did it with you all in New York. They did it with Trump supporters on college campuses when they were the ones being beaten with bike locks and, having eggs hurled at them and whatnot. And just, this is the thing about the ineffectualness of the so-called movement on the right.
Yeah.
I mean, every time that there are opportunities for us to do jujitsu and to take advantage of opportunities and turn it around on the left, we squander those opportunities. Or you have backstabbers among the establishment Republicans who are all too willing to help further those narratives. And it's the David Frenches of the worlds and the Bulwarks and the Bill Cristols who piled on just as much and made it almost impossible for anybody in the mainstream to rectify the lies that were told against you and the Proud Boys and to stand up and support you, because then we were smeared as embracing street brawlers as well.
The violence was already there. Like they say, you guys were endorsing violence. No, we were fighting back. We didn't go to their events. That kid who wrote the Antifa handbook, he did a whole American tour. No one went to any of his events. They would come to our events, wait outside and fight us, and we were happy to oblige. And we were thrown in prison for fighting back. While the left talked about when we go low, when they go low, we kick them. Tim Kaine, we have to fight them on the streets. Hillary Clinton said, we are not civil. Antifa left a note on the door the night before my talk saying they're going to be there and be violent. And they said, in the note, they said, we are not civil. So Antifa's using Hillary's verbiage. She's literally endorsing violence, and all we're doing is fighting back. And then they frame the narrative as these racist Nazis. And I sent you the list. I have 35 Proud Boys who lost their jobs. Cops, people in law enforcement, people fighting terrorism, lost their jobs because of this fake narrative. And then we can't defend ourselves because we're banned from social media, so we can't tell the truth. You should see my Wikipedia. It's ridiculous. It sounds like Hitler. And you can see the editors are in Antifa. They endorse Antifa. It's a strange world, but the fact that you call out the right is really interesting because yes, Daily News was at the trial filming John and making him Zeke Heil and all that stuff. Where was the New York Post? Where was Breitbart? Where was Daily Caller? Fox News wouldn't have anything to do with Proud Boys, who are out there fighting for conservative values, physically defending. And ask Ann Coulter about Proud Boys. They saved her life. They surround her when she does these talks. She was at a restaurant recently. Proud Boys brought her there, made sure she was safe before a talk she did. The waitress called Antifa. Antifa were coming. They saw a bunch of big guys in Fred Perry's and tattoos and went, No. We can't defend ourselves online. We can't defend ourselves in media. We can't defend ourselves physically. That's the world we're living in.
Well, it's ideological disarmament and it's physical disarmament. And, I think a lot of it too with Con Inc., with the establishment of the right, is that they're just completely out of touch with this movement of young men that you've built, right? They always pay lip service to non-traditional outreach. They make a big deal out of every type of identity politics, except for young, disaffected men who are seeking fraternity and who love this country and are willing to put their bodies on the line to defend the West, right? There's Blexit and Brexit, all the exits, right? But here you are, and that's what's extraordinary. And it is, you mentioned how, we're threats because people actually like us, right? And so what do you have to do? You have to scare the bejesus out of people so that they won't even click to find out what we're saying, right? Which is why I thought it was important to do this kind of thing. But the demonization, this is your lawsuit laid it out so well, the entire sort of unfolding. I don't speak French, and so denouement is not the right word because that's at the end. But while it was happening, right, all of the details of boom, 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 boom. How do you restore your reputation? How do you undo these narratives once they become so fossilized? And when they're fossilized, not just by the left, but by the right.
Yeah, well, I think what happened is they diluted the term Nazi and all of that stuff until it means nothing. In fact, when Proud Boys started, I had a lawyer who would send cease and desist anytime they said Nazi or anything. And he called me about a year into it. He goes, my legal recourse here is being diluted because they've made the word white supremacist Nazi mean jerk. And you're allowed to call someone a jerk. So that it's just lost its meaning. But it is, I've realized recently the only recourse really is to sue. You can't, there's no justice. Like George Zimmerman, I just saw this great documentary about the Trayvon hoax.
Joe Gilbert. Yeah. Mm-hmm, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you realize that the police have no power. It's these corrupt judges, and the DNC runs the justice system. So George Zimmerman is suing, and that's the only way he's going to get justice. And with me suing the SPLC, that's the only time I saw results. I got the president kicked out, the head of legal kicked out, that Heidi Cow, what's her name, Heinrich, who was smearing everyone. The Richard Cohen's gone. I chopped the head off the organization, and the lawsuit hasn't even begun yet. That's lawfare is our last resort, and that's where we're at.
And yet, what is there, like 3 lawyers who do this for our side? I mean, that's part of the problem too. Right?
Yeah, that's true. I was working with another guy, Craig Nelson, who was trying to sue the SPLC, but no lawyer will go near it because they don't want to be called a white supremacist. We spent $5,000 writing a case for these Proud Boys who were kicked out of a restaurant in California. California has great laws for that, but they were invented to protect communists during McCarthyism. So they thought, we don't want communists getting kicked out of restaurants. So there's really solid laws for people not getting kicked out of a place to eat for their politics. We couldn't get one lawyer to take the case. The case was done. The complaint was written. All they had to do was file it. No one wanted their name on it. Or the Halifax 5, they were accused of disrupting an Aboriginal ceremony. All they did was say, why are you having an anti-Canada Day ceremony on Canada Day? And we wrote that up, raised the money. No lawyer would file it. And he knew they were innocent. I mean, the cowardice that's going on here is really shocking. Maybe it's because I'm Scottish and we're warriors by genetics, but I've never seen this much weakness.
Yeah. So what do you think of President Trump in all of this? I mean, nothing's been done about Antifa. They haven't been designated a domestic terrorist organization. You know, he's weighed in on a lot of other wrongful prosecutions, right? He's freed what's her name, the Anne-Marie Johnson, the Kim Kardashian,
right, yeah,
right. So criminal justice reform for certain political groups, but not for his most ardent supporters.
Yeah, he really is dragging his feet on everything from the wall to why did Blago get pardoned before Roger Stone or Flynn?
Must be a follow the money type thing. I don't get it.
And this big tech tweet he put out the other day where he said, tell me if you've had trouble with social media. It's like, we've been having trouble with social media for 2 years. Where were you?
Yeah, right. Well, he's monitoring the situation, Gavin, don't you know?
Well, it's pretty clear what the situation is. Big tech has been infiltrated by the radical left. And to the radical left, anyone with normal middle-of-the-road values, like you and I, is far, far right.
Yeah.
Fascist.
Yeah. So your personal account was banned from Twitter and Facebook, and that was back in the fall of 2018. Is that right, or was it later?
And Ryan, my little Japanese friend,
and here. Ryan too.
His person, and he's not that political. His Facebook was all like, "Hey, I'm on Orchard Beach with my Puerto Rican pals," and that's gone.
Yeah,
he's not allowed. That's not you can't work for me. But my YouTube has stayed up. They took it down, right? And I sent them all this evidence that they were wrong, and they know that I'm litigious now, and they put it back up. And I think it's because Steven Crowder. Crowder's suing them, and he's got a lot of money and a lot of power behind it, and they're scared. So YouTube won't touch litigious conservatives right now, but everyone else, no problem.
That's interesting. Yeah, and I know. Well, he's still up too, but he's demonetized. Is that what he's suing over?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the Censorship account on Instagram was also banned. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It goes back to what I was saying at the beginning, when they go, these people are these alt-right people are given a platform without moderation. Like, what they're saying is not valid.
Yes.
Why do we get scared of ideas? How weak do you have to be scared of an idea? I think flat earthers are ridiculous. I'm not scared of their ideas. Go ahead, have a giant convention. Flat earthers, knock your socks off.
Yeah, right. Well, this to your point, Twitter just announced maybe 20 minutes before we came on that they are now testing out settings that let you choose who can join your conversation.
And there's a little video that they've attached to this. And so basically social media has turned into anti-social media. And so there's the blue checkmark applauder of this new scheme who says, I think this feature strikes a good balance between conversing publicly and feeling safer while doing so. This gives power to the conversation starter to enforce the signal to noise ratio when needed. What is even the point?
You want to feel unsafe? Try being Gavin McInnes or Michelle Malkin and walking around Manhattan or Berkeley. You know, we're in constant threat. When Tommy Robinson and I were banned from Australia, we were going to do a tour there. And they said, no, it might incite violence. The only violence that was going to come would be against Tommy and I.
Yes.
These people are living in the safest possible universe in history.
Yeah.
And their first priority is getting more safe.
Yeah.
And this, I think, is why Zoomers are coming over to the dark side, because it's no fun having all of these rules and all of this moderation. It's not an exciting way to live. It's un-American. But we know how we got here, right? This is all because Trump won. And the only reason Trump was on Facebook and social media is because he had been banned and vilified and lied about everywhere else. So he goes to the rally and he says, holy cow, look how many people are here. And he just moves his phone like that. And we see 80,000 people. And we go, what? CNN told us no one's going to these things. So instead of going, wow, we gave him one outlet and he still won, they go, we have to get that final outlet and not let any of these people show that Trump is popular and that populism is popular. So let's just eradicate that.
Right. Safe.
I want to feel safe.
Safer.
I hate feeling safe. It's no fun.
Well, I know. That's why I love you so much. It's one thing to have to deal with the Karens and the awfuls and all that type of stuff. But for me, especially over the last couple of years, just the dread, dullardness and grayness of the people that I had worked with for so long in establishment circles in Con Inc. And so that's where I see the most vitriol. I mean, the biggest pushback and the worst smears against people like you and me and the voices that I've been trying to highlight this week. And I really do feel that the enemies on the so-called right side of the spectrum are worse than the ones on the left. At least on the left, we know what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
There's no pretense.
I know, but I think we might differ a little bit in that I avoid punching right because I know Charlie Kirk says crap about stapling visas, green cards to diplomas and all of that crap, and he should be embarrassed about saying that kind of thing. But I'm suing the SPLC. I'm attacking the Karens. I'm attacking Joe Biden because they're fighting dirty. So we have to be united. And I know this sounds crazy because they're purposely not uniting, but we have to be united until November to make sure Trump gets in, because we know after Trump's next 4 years, they're going to come back with someone who's going to make Obama look like Hitler. I mean, the president after Trump is going to be trans. And then we'll get Ted Cruz in 2032, and I hope he can fix the 8-year tranny presidency that we're getting.
We'll see. So I only have a couple more minutes here, but let's see. I've plugged censored.tv.
JusticeForLiberty.com.
JusticeForLiberty.com. There it is right now to support the Proud Boys who are been wrongfully imprisoned, wrongfully convicted, raise awareness about that. And people can still follow the Censored.tv account on Twitter at Censored.tv. Okay, just want to give you one more chance to address President Trump directly, because apparently he's watching clips of mine and such. What would you say right now, especially like leading up into the election? What should he be doing?
President Trump, we had a deal. I was at your rallies. We started screaming, build the wall. It happened at all your rallies. You said you were going to drain the swamp. We need Flynn pardoned, Roger Stone pardoned. We need the Proud Boys pardoned. We need you to stop this big tech censorship. It's been 2 years you've been dragging your feet on this. This is America. You're preventing freedom of speech. Open up the country. Let's get back to work. You're too easily bullied by these never Trumpers because you're worried about your reputation. Get a bad reputation. It worked for Joan Jett.
I love it. If I were closer to my piano, I'd rip out some I Love Rock and Roll.
Oh yeah, great jam.
All right. Thanks so much, Gavin. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.
You bet.